this video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to cut this stylish flay dress. And this dress is from Classic Chic Locks. So to start, I'm going to start with drafting the upper part of this pattern, which includes my shoulder to bust, under bust, and waistline. Shoulder to bust is 9 inches, shoulder to under bust is 12 inches, and my shoulder to waist is 17 inches. Next, I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2. After marking that, I'll come down by 1 inch. From this point, I'm just going to mark a basic neckline of 3 inches to serve as a guide for this pattern. After that, I'm going to place my ruler and I'll connect from that 1 inch shoulder slope to the neckline. Next, I'm going to find my chest line. And to find your chest line is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So I made a mark on that point. I'll place my ruler and I'm going to draw out a straight line. Next, I'm going to place my tape and mark my shoulder divided by 2 on the chest line, and I'll place my ruler and draw a straight line at this point. Now, after marking this, I'm going to place my tape and I'm going to go ahead to divide what I have here into 2 equal parts. And I'll go down to the chest line and I'm going to mark my round bust circumference divided by 4. Now, I'm going to connect from that 1/2 inch at the midpoint at the armhole to the upper part and to the bust circumference divided by 4. The next step is to go ahead to mark my dart for this pattern. But after marking your dart, you're going to blend it out. This will help contour your dress because if you look at the dress, there's no dart. Mark your dart, you're going to mark your nipple to nipple line divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches. Place my ruler to draw out a straight line. I'll mark 1/2 inch on both sides of this pattern. Come down by 1 inch here. After marking that, I'm going to place my ruler and I'll connect all the way up and also connect at the other side of this pattern. Now, the next step I'm going to take is to insert the body measurement. I'll mark the bust circumference divided by 4 and add a sewing allowance. Here, I'll mark the under bust circumference divided by 4, measure this dart intake I have here, replace and add a sewing allowance. At the waist, I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace and add my sewing allowance. Now, I'll place a ruler, connect to the under bust. From the under bust, I'll also connect to the waistline of my pattern. Now, after I'm done connecting this, I'll go ahead to cut out this part of my pattern because I'll be using it also to draft out the back parts. After I'm done cutting out this part, before drafting out the back, I'll go ahead to mark out the sleeve. So I'm using 1.5 here, and from the neckline, I'm using a depth of 7 inches. So measure yours and use what suits you. Now I'll just go ahead to connect from that 1.5 inches to that 7 inches. Now, if you don't want to use this 1.5 inches, you can use 2 inches at the shoulder of the sleeve. Now, I'll go ahead to cut out my pattern. After cutting out this pattern, I'll add an extension at the upper part. And I'll also go ahead to blend out the dart because you'll be cutting this directly on your fabric without a dart. Now, add an extension to your sleeve. How long you want it to be, that is what you'll be adding. You can add either 15, 20 inches or depending on how long you want the strap on the sleeve to be. Now, to cut out the back pattern, I marked out a zipper allowance in front and I'll place the front pattern on the back pattern. What I will now do is to go ahead to trace out my pattern. So I'll go ahead to place and I'm going to trace this all the way around my pattern, going towards the neckline of this pattern also. So after I'm done tracing this out, we are now going to go ahead to get rid of the zipper bulge. And to do that, at the lower part, mark 1/2 inch at the waistline. And you're going to go ahead to extend this all the way to the upper part of this pattern. This will help your back pattern relax very well. So after this, I'll just go ahead to cut out my pattern. So after cutting this, we'll move ahead to draft out the back pattern. So if you have any question, please go ahead also to leave it at the comment section. After cutting this part, we are also going to add an extension for the back of this sleeve. So whatever extension or length you want to add to the sleeve, go ahead to do that. So this is the front and this is the back of the dress. So when you put it on, you can go ahead to tie it at the upper part. Let's go ahead to cut out the flare. So for the flare part of this dress, I'm cutting it in form of a 360-degree flare. So I'm going to fold this into two first and then go ahead to fold it again. Now I'll be cutting out the lower part in a miniature size because I can't really cut out that full flare on a pattern paper, and I'll be explaining how to cut this. So what you need is the round waist measurement of your dress. So my waist is 28, and because this dress has a zipper allowance at the back, let's say the zipper you're adding is 1 inch. You're going to add your zipper allowance. So my waist is 28 plus extra 1 inch zipper allowance on both sides will give me 30 inches. So that 30 inches, to cut it on this pattern, I'm going to divide it by 4. But because I'm cutting this on a smaller pattern, I will be using a smaller number to work on this pattern. So let's say the total round measurement we got is 16 inches. So what I will now do is I'm going to divide that 16 by 4. You divide 16 by 4, what you have is 4 inches. So that's 4. What you now do is to go ahead and create like a semicircle at the closed part of this pattern this way. So this is the easiest way to cut out your flare without going ahead to do a lot of calculation on it. So I'll go ahead to draw out a semicircle, which is exactly that 4 inches on the dot. Now, this is more like a rough sketch to make sure that this is exactly the same measurement. That is, the round measurement is 4. What I will do is I'm going to get my tape and I'm going to place it at the tip to where I have that circle. Now, the measurement I have from the tip to that point, this is what I will take all the way around my pattern. So now I'll just go ahead and take that measurement, I'll mark, and then make sure it goes round. So after marking, I'm going to go ahead to reconnect it all the way around. Now after reconnecting, place your tape and make sure that you have exactly that 4 inches. Next is to mark the full length of the lower part of your dress. From your waistline, mark the full length of where the dress will stop. So let's say mine is 5.5 inches. I'll add additional 1 inch for the lower part and ½ inch for the joining allowance. I will now have a total of 7 inches, which I will now take this all the way around. After marking the dots round, I'll go ahead to connect. Then you'll be having a full flare, a full circle flare, and you go ahead to cut it out. After you cut it out, you notice that you don't have an opening. You'll be slitting one side of this skirt open. So just like I said, open it up, you now slit it. What you now do is to attach this to the waistline of your skirt, starting from the midpoint of the waist all the way to the back of the dress.